Hello and welcome back to Mastering Flat Design. In this video, we're going to wrap up our footer by creating the register for updates column over here on the right. Now this one we want to stand out. We want the users to really notice this so they can go in and sign up. So we're going to put a bright background on it, and we're going to use that same orange coral color we've been using. So we're going to go to the rectangle tool. For the fill color, I'm going to select that same orange color, click on OK, and there we go. So then I'm going to come up here, click and drag out, and we'll just go ahead and drag all the way down to the bottom of our file and all the way over to the guide on the right edge, and there we go. So then we need to drag this down behind the register for updates text field that we created earlier, which has the title text for that column. V to switch to the move tool, Command H to turn off our guides, or Control H on a PC. And that looks good. So now we're going to create a simple form using the same flat design techniques. We're not going to have any special drop shadows or bevels or anything like that. It's going to be nice flat shapes. And let's get started. So we're going to start with two text fields for name and email, and then we'll put a sign me up button below the two text fields. So we're going to create our text fields using the rectangle tool. And then before we change the fill color, we need to make sure that this background layer isn't selected. So we're going to create a new layer. Then we'll change our fill color to white. And we're not going to use a stroke color, so make sure that your stroke is turned off. And then we'll create our shape. So we'll just click and drag out here, and then we'll align it after we drag it out. And we want this to be 235 pixels in width, roughly, to about 45 pixels in height, like so. V to switch to the move tool. I'm going to nudge this all the way over to the left edge, and then shift right arrow 1, 2, 3, 4 times to nudge it over 40 pixels. We'll nudge it up a little bit, and there is our first text field. I'm going to put some text in here, so we'll hit T to switch to the text tool. Hold on to shift so that we get the regular text insertion cursor. Click, and then we're going to type in the word name. And I want this to be left aligned, so we'll click on that option up here. It's going to be Centany regular, and the font size we're going to use here is 18 point, and then using the move tool we'll just nudge that into place like so. So then we're going to copy this because our email text field is going to look exactly the same. So we can grab this rectangle layer here that serves as the background for that and the name text field, and we'll just Command J or Control J on a PC to make a copy of both of those layers. And then using the move tool, we'll nudge both of those layers down. And then we'll change the text here to email. So we just have a nice little hint there of what this is supposed to be. So now that we've got our text fields in place, all we need to do is to create our button. So we're going to go to the rounded rectangle tool here. And I'm going to create a new layer above the email layer here. And in this new layer, we're going to select our fill color, and our fill for this button is going to be the same as the background for the services button up here. So we can have some consistency with our colors. So we're just going to eyedropper the background for the services button, and that's what we're going to use for the foreground, or for the background for our shape here, for our button. For the radius, I'm going to bring that up to 3 pixels. And then I want this to be the exact same width as our two text fields here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the rectangle that serves as the background for the email text field, and I'm going to drag out a couple of guides. One of them will snap to the left edge, one of them will snap to the right edge, like so. And then we'll use those guides to create our sign up button. So I'm going to go back up to this empty layer 1 here, and then we'll click down here and drag out. And it's going to be a little bit taller than the text fields. We'll make it 55 pixels tall and release, and there's our button. So V to switch to the move tool, Command H to turn off our guides, or Control H if you're using a PC, T to go to the text tool, and let's put some text here. Now I'm going to center the text, so we'll come up here to our text options and click on center. Also, this text is going to be bold, but we're going to keep it at 18 point, and then click somewhere in the middle of that background rectangle, and we're going to type sign me up in all capital letters, and then we're going to change the font color there to white so we can read it a little better. And then we'll grab both that and the rounded rectangle behind it, which is the background for that button, and we're going to align the horizontal and vertical centers, and that should move the text into place over the button. So that wraps it up for our register for updates section. And the last thing we need to do to finish off this file is to clean up our folders just a little bit more and then crop everything. So the only folder cleanup left is to group all of this register for updates section here, which goes from here down to, and again, you can turn on and off layers to see which layers are selected here. And we'll go all the way down to this orange background layer, grab all of that, and then put that in a group called register. And then again, turn that register group off and on just to make sure we have all of the right layers inside that group and it looks good. So then we can collapse the footer folder, scroll down a little bit, and then let's crop this to finish it off. So we'll hit C to switch to the crop tool. If the crop tool isn't the one that's selected here, you can select it from here. You might have the perspective crop or the slice tool selected. You can either select it this way, or you can just hit Shift C over and over again to cycle through those tools until you get to the crop tool. And then we'll grab this bottom handle and drag it up until we have about so much padding below the bottom of that button there. And then we'll hit Enter to apply those changes. Command 1 to zoom out, and we are already at 100%, so that's good. And then we'll zoom out a little bit so that we can see the whole design. F a couple of times to get rid of all of the extra ornamentation in Photoshop there. And there we go. There's our final design, and it looks really good. So again, we used flat design techniques to do this. You'll notice we didn't use a single gradient, but keep in mind that doesn't mean that you can't ever use a gradient in a flat design. I've seen some flat designs that use them, but when they do use them, they use them very, very sparingly. So with that done, let's save our file one last time. Command Shift S to save as, or Control Shift S on a PC, and we'll save this as flatdesign-final.psd. So once we have that saved, we'll move on to the next video. Thank you for watching.